Salt Lake City, Utah, the 29th of October 2025. Morning traffic moves steadily along 2100 South and 300 West, the kind of intersection where work trucks, commuters, and pedestrians all cross paths. But at 10:29 a.m., a call comes in that shifts the routine rhythm of the city. A man reports that his friend has been attacked in the middle of the street. He sounds anxious and disorganized, struggling to give the call taker a precise location. As the operator tries to confirm exactly where the incident happened, the caller suddenly mentions that the person who was attacked is starting to wake up. This small detail immediately raises concern for dispatchers. Someone unconscious in the street suggests an assault, a medical emergency, or a potentially unstable scene. Before the operator can gather more information, the call abruptly disconnects. The call taker dials the number back, hoping to get clarity. The same man answers, gives a short request for help, and then hangs up again without explanation. The level of uncertainty increases. Dispatchers cannot determine whether the situation is escalating, stabilizing, or transitioning into something else entirely. 2 Salt Lake City Police Department officers are sent to investigate. They arrive near the area described in the call, scanning the sidewalks, parking lots, and nearby businesses for anyone who appears injured or involved in conflict. Several people nearby confirm that some kind of altercation happened earlier, though none offer clear details. The scene feels unsettled, like something occurred minutes before but left no obvious footprint. After walking the area, officers come across a man sitting on the curb. He is identified as 47-year-old Jose Hernandez. His posture is slumped, his face showing the kind of fatigue seen after either injury, intoxication, or emotional distress. Officers approach him carefully, aware that the earlier call referenced an attack in the area. They ask if he needs medical attention. Hernandez declines. They ask whether he had been assaulted or involved in a fight. He does not answer. His behavior is quiet but distant, as if he is either unwilling or unable to explain what happened. Officers try to evaluate his condition based on body language and physical appearance, looking for signs of trauma. Nothing about him initially appears aggressive. He remains seated, avoiding eye contact, giving minimal responses. But the officers notice subtle tension in his movements, small signs that he is not fully cooperative and may become unpredictable. Without warning, the atmosphere shifts. Hernandez suddenly reaches for several landscaping rocks sitting near the curb. He gathers them with both hands and stuffs them into the front pouch of his hooded sweatshirt. The action is fast enough to create immediate concern. Rocks of this size can be used as weapons, capable of inflicting serious injury at close range. One of the officers instructs him to put the rocks back. The order is calm but firm, following standard safety protocol. Instead of complying, Hernandez stands up and begins walking away. His pace is steady at first, as though trying to create distance without drawing attention. He ignores every verbal command to stop, sit down, or remove the rocks from his clothing. The officers follow, maintaining distance while attempting to de-escalate. They warn bystanders to clear the area, concerned that Hernandez might escalate his behavior towards civilians. The man's silence and refusal to engage only heighten the tension. Hernandez reaches into his sweatshirt and pulls out one of the rocks. He grips it in his right hand. It is large enough to cause serious harm. Officers again order him to drop it. He refuses. His posture stiffens, and his breathing becomes erratic. Each step he takes raises the risk of a sudden violent outburst. The officers continue issuing commands, but Hernandez keeps moving south along the sidewalk, crossing 300 West. They track his movement from a distance, maintaining cover while ensuring he does not approach uninvolved pedestrians. Cars passing through the intersection slow down, confused by the sudden police presence. The officer's focus never leaves Hernandez's hands. What had begun as a response to a vague assault call is rapidly transforming into a critical unfolding incident involving a man acting erratically with a weapon in hand. As Hernandez nears the corner of 2000, 100 South, and 300 West, the tension reaches its threshold. He turns his body sharply toward one of the officers. Without hesitation, he throws the rock directly at him. The motion is sudden, forceful, and aimed with clear intent. The officer reacts instinctively, moving to avoid the impact. But the incoming rock presents immediate danger. A split-second decision must be made. The officer fires at least one round as Hernandez completes the throwing motion. The bullet strikes Hernandez, who collapses onto the ground near the corner. The sudden shift from movement to stillness is stark. The tense pursuit transforms instantly into an emergency medical response. Officers rush toward Hernandez, securing the area and ensuring there are no additional threats nearby. They move cautiously at first, making sure he is no longer able to harm himself, the officers, or the public. Once they confirm the scene is safe, they begin life-saving measures. They apply pressure to the wound and monitor his breathing and pulse. The officer involved in the shooting calls urgently over the radio for medical responders to expedite their arrival. A second officer continues, scanning the area to make sure no civilians wander close to the scene. As officers provide care, the injured officer who was struck by the rock reports his injury. He has sustained a non-life-threatening impact wound. He remains conscious and stable, but the force of the thrown rock was enough to require evaluation by medical personnel. Officers direct him to move behind cover until paramedics arrive. Salt Lake City fire crews and Gold Cross ambulance respond quickly. They arrive with medical gear in hand, assessing Hernandez's condition while officers continue assisting. The paramedics load him onto a stretcher and transport him to the hospital in critical condition. Despite extensive medical treatment, Hernandez does not survive. The officer who was struck by the rock is also transported to a local hospital, treated for his injuries, and later released. As the emergency vehicles depart, the scene becomes a controlled investigation site. Police tape stretches around the corner, blocking the sidewalk and portions of the street. Pedestrians observe from a distance, some recording with phones, others simply watching silently. Detectives arrive next. They document the location where Hernandez collapsed, marking evidence and photographing the area. They note the position of the thrown rock, the path Hernandez took during the pursuit, and the exact spot where the discharge occurred. The investigation that follows is standard procedure for any officer-involved shooting. The department conducts a full review, ensuring that use of force aligns with policy, state law, and departmental guidelines. Witnesses who saw portions of the incident are interviewed. Many describe Hernandez's refusal to obey commands, his unpredictable behavior, and the moment he threw the rock with clear force and intention. Medical teams confirm that Hernandez was transported alive, but succumbed to his injuries at the hospital. Officers emphasize that he was given immediate first aid at the scene, consistent with department protocol. The incident continues to draw attention as more details become public. The original 911 caller is identified, though questions remain about the initial altercation he described. The man's reluctance to remain on the phone, his vague explanations, and the abrupt disconnections are reviewed to determine whether the initial assault played a role in Hernandez's later behavior. The investigation expands into two parallel tracks: the initial reported altercation and the subsequent confrontation between Hernandez and police. In the days that follow, investigators reconstruct the timeline from the initial 911 call to the fatal shooting. They analyze the behavior of everyone involved, compile statements, and cross-reference body cam footage with dispatch logs. The first stage of the review focuses on the 911 call. The caller's inconsistent communication makes it difficult to determine what led Hernandez to be sitting on the curb when officers found him. Investigators review whether he was the victim of an assault, part of a dispute, or simply present when the altercation happened. No definitive answer is reached, as Hernandez did not provide details and witnesses offered only fragmented accounts. The second stage examines Hernandez's behavior after officers made contact. Footage clearly shows that officers offered medical attention, which he declined. They asked multiple questions to determine whether he was hurt or involved in a fight. No answers were given. Officers followed protocol, attempting to identify any safety concerns and de-escalate the situation calmly. The review finds that the officer acted within use of force guidelines, responding to a clear threat. The rock caused a non-life-threatening injury to the officer, confirming the danger posed by Hernandez's actions. Further evaluation from the department's internal and external oversight bodies concludes that the event unfolded rapidly and unpredictably. Officers attempted every reasonable verbal option before force was used. They provided immediate aid to Hernandez after the shooting, and they expedited medical response. Procedures were followed accurately. The death of Hernandez prompts additional community questions. Social service agencies inquire whether he had mental health challenges or recent instability. The incomplete information from the 911 call leaves many unknowns, but investigators confirm that officers followed protocol based solely on observable behavior. The officer who fired the shot is placed on temporary administrative leave, which is routine procedure. No other officers nor civilians were injured beyond the initial rock impact. As the case transitions into administrative review, Salt Lake City Police issue a statement acknowledging the incident and reiterating the sequence of events. They explain that additional information cannot be released until the investigation concludes. The corner of 2000, 100 South, and 300 West gradually returns to normal traffic patterns. The curb where Hernandez first sat eventually becomes indistinguishable from any other in the area. But for the officers, the bystanders, and the city, the memory lingers a reminder of how quickly a seemingly minor call can escalate into a fatal confrontation. The final investigative report establishes one clear timeline. Hernandez refused aid, refused commands, armed himself with rocks, ignored repeated warnings, and threw a rock at an officer with enough force to cause injury. In response, the officer used lethal force to stop the threat. It was a fast, chaotic, and tragic encounter, shaped entirely by unpredictable behavior and split-second decisions.